হুম, হ্যালো, শুনতে পাচ্ছ তো? ওকে। Now, Sir Thomas Watt, Farewell to Love. It is a sonnet. Again, you can say that it also means renouncing of love. That is farewell to love. So here Thomas Watt means to say that he is giving his farewell to love because he's frustrated with his love and he does not want to continue it anymore. So here we see that this 14 line sonnet tells us a lot many things about his feeling farewell to love and all thy love forever. Here what does the poet means to say? What states that he is saying goodbye to love and that he will no longer be trapped by it. He personifies love in order to state that he does not want to fall in love again and be tangled in such feelings. Seneca and Plato call me from thy load to perfect well my wit for to endeavor. So here he states that learning in books is what he strives to immerse himself in, get himself involved in, immerse himself in, and they are to him perfect wealth. So in blind error, when I did persevere, thy sharp repulse that picketh a so sore, hath taught me to set in trifles no store, and scape forth since liberty's liver, LEVER, liver. So when what or the speaker did fall in love, he found that he became blind and ended up in emotional pain. So this has taught him to move away from such experiences and seek freedom from the pain. So he does not want to fall in love to experience the pain again, and he wants to relieve himself from this pain. Therefore, farewell, go trouble younger hearts, and in me claim no more authority. So here what tells the personified love that it should focus on the young because he has had enough. With idle youth, go use thy property, and thereon spend that my brittle darts. Dart means arrows. For hitherto, though I have lost my time, me lasteth no longer rotten boughs to climb. So what ends in the poem by stating yet again that love is for the young because they can apparently better withstand the many brittle darts. He believes that his time in love has been a waste and compares it to climbing a rotten tree, linger rotten boughs, climbing rotten trees, tree branch. That would, of course, be useless. So he refuses to last anymore. So, farewell, love, and all thy laws forever by Sir Thomas Watt is a sonnet. It is a presentation of saying farewell to love. So, farewell, love, and all thy laws forever. So he says. So, farewell when he says farewell to love, love laws. Farewell, love, and all thy laws forever. He means to say that love is a beast with hooks that tangle the speaker. The hook that we bait the fish and we catch the fish. It is something like that. He uses the name of Seneca and Plato. Call me from thy Lord to perfect wealth by wit for the endeavor. Lord means learning, learning knowledge, or it may mean. Perfect wealth means well being in mind, not in money, he talks about, but he talks about mind. Wit, that is wisdom. Wisdom is wit. Here, wisdom is not only intelligence but also wit. Endeavor means attempt to achieve something. To submit to love is to be witless. So he does not want to lose that wit, that wisdom. Thus, the speaker characterizes love as something that should be reserved for the uneducated, and those who sharpen their minds will not be dumb enough to fall prey to it. So the poet bids farewell to love and its conventions because it is fascinated him, because it fascinated him no more. The beauty and the charm of love are likened to a baited hook. The baited hook is the bait with which we hook or catch fish that keeps the lover restless and in pain. Because we bait the fish, but we do not know the pain the fish gets when we bait them, and pain to lose the spirit of knowledge. So, love is therefore treated as a deception, a fancy that cheats. For him, it is deception. You might be thinking then, why does he say so? Why love cheats him? Because, again, I would like to say that Thomas Watt means to say, means to say that he does not want to be baited or cheated by love anymore. He had had enough experience of it. He knows what is the pain behind it. You do not like to experience it anymore. Enough is enough for him, and you do not like to experience it anymore. So he says, baited, that word is used. So the baited means the pain that love sustains. You do not like to experience the pain anymore. It is enough for him to do so. You do not like to experience it anymore. That he means to say. So you say, he means to say that you'd like to move away from love. Love is therefore treated as a deception, a fancy that cheats. In blind error, when I did persevere, that means here means he is talking to what? To love himself. The sharp ripples that picket a so sore have taught me to set in trifles no store, and scape fox since liberty is liver. Now, he is speaking in his language of poetry. Blind error. That means he means to say love is blind. Love is a mistake. Persevere. To keep at work hard. So the sharp repulse, his lover's harsh response, rejection, pricket, gives me sharp pain. Pricket over here means pricket. Pricket means give sharp pain. So the poet bids farewell to love and its conventions. Hello? And the beauty and charm of love are likened to a baited hook that keeps the lover restless and in pain to lose the spirit of love, of knowledge. Hello, you can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. In blind error, when I do persevere, the sharp ripples that pricket a so so. So here, blind error means love is blind, love is mistake. Persevere, to keep at work hard. Thy sharp repulse means his lover's harsh response, rejection. Pricket means prick, gives him sharp pain, like the puncture made by a needle. A, yes, trifles. A false or idle tale told to deceive, cheat or befool. So here the metaphor is love is a triple, meant to deceive. So the poet is suggesting that love is thus worthless. Liver, Lever. Liver is not the scientific liver, it is desirable, preferable. Lever, liver is desirable or preferable. Then the poet explains in line 7 he worshipped his beloved without any favorable response from her. He had faith in love, which made him persist in his wooing efforts. Yet he met with cruel rejection from his lover, which was too painful for him. So he concludes that love is blind and deceitful, and that freedom, liberty is much more worthy than being tangled as such. Love that pricket, the pain of the needle of love. So love is compared to that needle, that pricket. Now he moves forward to line 8. Younger hearts means people and youth of lesser age. Therefore, farewell, go trouble younger hearts, and in me claim no more authority. With idle youth go use by thy property. Thereon spend the many brittle darts. Darts means the arrows of love. So here we say he uses personification as a figure of speech. We have already done. Younger heart means people and youth. Idle youth means immature youth. Use thy property, be yourself. Brittle means fragile, weak. Darts means arrows. The poet is saying that only mature youth can be trapped by love. He has passed the stage of immaturity. He is now grown with age, and therefore the arrows of Cupid, that is love, can have no effect on him. So in line 9, he says the poet feels he is too old and possibly too emotionally tired to be bothered by love. He says that love is for young people who still have the strength to sustain the trouble that love inflicts. So love's arrows, means darts, are hard but can be easily broken. They don't have any effect on the poet, but can only penetrate the hearts of the immature youth, not him who is now grown up with age. In line 10 he says, for hitherto, though I have lost my time, my lasset no longer rotten boughs to climb. Hitherto, until now, lasset means lust, means sex, means want, means desire. The poet regrets that he has wasted his life in the pursuit of love, as he gained nothing but pain. So he did not experience lust. Rotten boughs to climb, a metaphor has been used over here. So in the first 8 lines, the poet first bids goodbye forever to love, personified and its rules. He states that the baited hooks, painful baits used by men to bait fish, will no longer ensnare, attract him. He is called away from love by Seneca and Plato. to the real riches of wit and intellect. He gives the reason for this change of heart in line 5 and 6. As he says that when he made ignorant mistakes, the cruel words of love pricked him and instructed him instead in pointless lessons that he no longer cares for. So in line 8, he says that he's escaped since freedom is his lever. So another interpretation of this line utilizes preferable as the meaning for lever. What is saying freedom is preferable to love? So he continues in lines 14. In the final sestet, the last 6 lines of the sonnet is known as sestet. The poet takes his leave of love, directing it to the younger hearts. He claims that love is no longer has any authority over him, and suggests it takes its offering to the young and lazy. So in line 12, he suggests that love uses up its fragile arrows, darts, he talks about, as although he has lost time over love. He will no longer climb rotten branches to reach its goal. So here it is important to remember that what use of punctuation was limited and sporadic. He did not capitalize to indicate personification, so later editors capitalized love. It is still likely, however, that love has been personified here. In renouncing the laws of love, the poet is rejecting the rules of code in society, as well as the emotional effects of intense relationship. The metaphor of baited hooks works as an allegory for fishing. Fish is baited and caught, but also presents an oxymoron in the bait, being the pleasure and the hook, being painful consequences of the bait. So, by the third line, the poet tells us that he is now drawn to more cerebral concerns, namely stupefying the philosophers of Plato and Seneca, which he talks here about. Seneca was commonly studied at universities in Tudor times. This is the poetry of Tudor period. Seneca was a Stoic. A Stoic Seneca asserted that there were 3 choices of how to live: a life of theory, a life of politics, and life of pleasure. Here the poet is advocating leaving pleasure behind, lust behind, to focus on a more perfect wealth of education and politics, which he's talking about. It is possible to read perfect as a verb as well as a noun. So, and this interpretation would imply that the poet is to devote his time to greater study and self improvement. So he explains in line 5 how he was forced into blind error, implying that he has been blinded by love to make poor choices. The reader may be reminded the lines from Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, Act 2, Scene 6. But love is blind and lovers cannot see the petty follies that themselves commit. That is the way we usually take love to be, that it is blind. And for that reason, it is not seen so perfectly because it is blind. However, Shakespeare did not compose these lines. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? So Shakespeare did not compose these lines from The Merchant of Venice. But love is blind and lovers cannot see the petty follies that themselves commit. This is in Act 2, Scene 6. However, Shakespeare did not compose these lines until 1596. It is likely that the theory of blinding love had circulated in popular consciousness before Shakespeare immortalized the words. So the narrator was pricked by the cruel insults and feels he was instructed in things he now considers pointless. In line 8, the narrator explains that he has escaped devoting himself to freedom, which extracts him from the bonds of love. He tells love to seek out younger hearts, indicating more naive and innocent lovers who have yet to develop the cynicism he now feels, because he has by this time developed a cynic attitude towards love. For him, love is painful, and he does not want to experience it anymore. So he's relieved by line 10 as he realizes that love no longer has the power and authority over him. He directs love to the young who are less busy on other affairs, so and to share the wealth of love with them. He suggests love uses its brittle darts, means its arrows of the Cupid on this more vulnerable prey, as although he has lost time in his pointless dalliance with love, he has learned to not pursue a pointless objective, which is illustrated in the metaphor forming the last line of the poem. Me list no longer rotten boughs to climb. CLIME climb, not CLIMB. So, what the poet means to say, what the poet means to say is that he does not want to involve himself in such experiences of love that would make him blind. So, his way of representation of love, the point may perhaps even have been directed as Henry VIII himself, as indeed his sexual desires and changes of attention led to death, charges of treason, and even major reasons of law to facilitate the king's desires. See, if we ask the question, what is the poem Farewell to Love about? The poet expresses a strong emotion with regard to his farewell from his beloved. There is the atmosphere of sadness. The poet shows his willingness to get separated permanently for some unknown reasons. But before parting, he wants to have a last look of the love. So, rhyme scheme of the poem, it is consists of 14 lines, the Petrarchan sonnet, divided into octave or octet, which actually rhymes ABBA, ABBA. You can find this in the first 8 lines. And then we come to the sestet. So, if we say that if this is a sonnet, a 14-line poem, of course, Sir Thomas the Elder's sonnet, Farewell Love, expresses what many of us have felt at one time or another. The long and short of it is, love, you are stressful, and I am done with you, no more with you, no more I'd like to stay with you. So the Norton Anthology editors point out that what sonnets are usefully doleful, sad, and this is a perfect example. So when we analyze the theme of the theme of the sonnet is the angry renunciation, leaving of love by the frustrated lover. He has enough bitter experience of piercing pangs, darts, he talks about of love, in a renouncing of love. He chose to renounce his love altogether and to seek shelter in the wide scholarship of the great master in order to perfect his intellect and wisdom. Love has its domination over younger people, and therefore idle brain. Therefore, the poet bids farewell to love. So it is a farewell to love. His long forbearance of the deep wounds of love is foolish enough. You would not like to experience it anymore. The poet, therefore, renounces love. And of course, when he does so, it can have no more hold upon him, though its darts, arrows are too cruel and tormenting. But the poet will never yield before love. Thus, the basic of the sonnet on the central focus centers around the lover's violent mood of anger and despair, which the depiction of love possibly caused. Love has its domination over younger people and their idle brain. Therefore, for the poet bids farewell to love and all its forces. His long forbearance of the deep womb of love is foolish enough. So the poet lover remains no longer in the mirage. Once he had committed himself to his beloved, the arrow of love rips his heart, pricks his heart painfully. So this burning in love not only makes him realize love's futility, uselessness, and feebleness, but also makes him strong hearted and courageous enough. The poet proposes disdain, his hatred towards his beloved, to entangle the young hearts. He wants the young heart to be entangled, but not himself, and use authority over idle youth. So, the sonnet, renouncing of love, confesses the conventional Petrarchan characteristics in which the lover's intense passion and pain, hope and despair are illustrated with superb excellency. One of the prominent features of Elizabethan sonnet is the singleness of emotion and subject matter. The composition of Petrarchan sonnet also gains a harmony in the technique. The sonnet concludes with a couplet, and here it differs from conventional Petrarchan sonnet. So here are the line scheme of ABAB, ABAB, CDD, CEE. So very important question is a renouncing of love as a Petrarchan sonnet for the examination. Undoubtedly, it is a Petrarchan sonnet. There is no denial of the fact that it is not. It is a Petrarchan sonnet. There's no denial of the fact, as I told you from the very beginning. There's no denial of the fact that he would like to leave the love pangs for the younger ones, not for himself. He has had enough experience of the pangs of love. Now, which is grown age, he would like the young ones to be affected with. So, in the history of English poetry, Sir Thomas Watt remains renowned as a pioneer in the art of Elizabethan sonnet writing. Following the great poetic tradition of the Italian master Petrarch, introduced the great poetic form of sonnet writing, Thomas Watt's Renouncing of Love is also typical Elizabethan Petrarchan sonnet on the basic theme of love of the Elizabethan Petrarchan sonnet. That is the way it has to be treated upon. That is what he says. The poet is connected with the angry renouncing of love. So, what is the anger that you would not love? You would not like to stay with love, his love anymore. Therefore, farewell. Go trouble younger hearts, he says. The sonnet will bear out Watt's appropriate imagery to build up the theme and mood of the sonnet. The imagery of the baited hooks, rotten bows, etc., are wonderful imageries. The Petrarchan form of the sonnet also possesses a harmony in the technique, consisting of 40 syllable line divided into two unequal parts of 8 and 6 lines respectively. At the time, they are altogether 5 lines in number A, B, C, D, E. So apart from this, the singleness of emotion that distinguishes the Petrarchan sonnet is well discerned in Watts' poem. That single emotion here is nothing but frustration and frenzy. In this way, the sonnet, or renouncing of love, very well bears out the typical characteristics of a Petrarchan sonnet, and that has to be kept in mind. It is a Petrarchan sonnet, so there's no denial of the fact. So ultimately, if we go into the critical analysis of the poem, which is very important also, another question. First one I said, which is whether it is a Petrarchan sonnet or not. Second one, that it is a critical, if you might be asked even to give a critical analysis of the sonnet. So it is important to remember that what use of punctuation is limited and sporadic. He did not capitalize to indicate personification. So later it is capitalized love. It is only not personification. It is still likely, however, the love has been personified here. In renouncing the laws of love, the poet is rejoicing the rules of court and society as well as the emotional effects of intense relationship. So the metaphor of baited hooks works as an allegory for fishing, but also presents an oxymoron in the bait, B-A-I-T. Oxymoron is also a figure of speech, being the pleasure and the hook being the painful consequences of the pleasure. So, you see, when you are asked to give a critical appreciation of this love poem, you explain it line by line. By the third line, the poet tells us that he is now drawn to more cerebral concerns, concerns of the brain, wit, namely studying the philosophies of Plato and Seneca. Seneca was commonly studied at universities in Tudor times. A Stoic Seneca asserted that there were three choices of how to live: a life of theory, a life of politics, a life of pleasure. I have already mentioned. These points will be included over here. Here, the poet is advocating leaving pleasure behind to focus on a more perfect wealth of education and politics. It is possible to read perfect as a verb as well as a noun. So he explains in line 5 how he was forced into the blind error, implying that he has been blinded by love to make poor choices. So, in this respect, we recollect from the lines of the Merchant of Venice, Act 2, Scene 6. So, in line 8, the narrator explains that he has escaped, devoting himself to freedom which extracts him from the bonds of love. He tells love to seek out singers, younger hearts, indicating more young people, innocent lovers, who have not yet experienced the pangs of love. And in line 10, as he realizes that love no longer has power and authority over him, he directs love to the young who are less busy on other affairs and to share the wealth of love with them. He suggests love use its brittle darts. Always love is in capital letter, that is, love is personified. Love, he has learn to not pursue a pointless objective. So the poet's message may intentionally be being conveyed to others at the court, pointing out that various relationships and complications within the social environment of the court often distracted the official from their true courtly duties. So the point perhaps even has been directed at Henry VIII himself, as indeed his sexual desires and changes of attention to led to deaths, charges of treason, and even major changes of law to facilitate the king's desire. Mostly the people in power, they forget a lot about what they are doing. They themselves do not know that they are doing something which are no one expected of them. So that is what may be the meaning behind it. So you see,